Hello, this is Tim Ashton for Comics and Gaming Magazine. I'm here at the Ghost Recon Future Soldier launch event in Toronto, Ontario, and I'm standing here with senior producer Stuart White from Red Storm Entertainment, who is the senior producer on Ghost Recon Future Soldier. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm excited to be here. I'm kind of bored with the contemporary military shooter, and I'm really interested to see what the future holds.
Yes.
So what does the future hold for Ghost Recon?
A lot of cooperative gameplay. Playing with your friends in the campaign structure through 12 maps. Playing with your buddies up to, let's see, team of 6 in multiplayer. Playing as one unit, not playing sort of as, I'm going to go do my own thing, but I need to stay with my team. That's the future.
That's excellent. So no army of one in this game?
Not at all. Army of 6.
Now, you mentioned that in North Carolina you guys have a couple military bases, actually. How heavily involved was the military in the making of this game? Were there consultants brought in, or were you guys just talking with them on a day-to-day basis?
So the official military is, we can't say how involved they are, right? But we do have the opportunity to work with third-party contractors who work with the military. They show up to Red Storm, they show us what they're working on. They kind of say what they think the future is going to hold. We see what the technology that they have is right now, and then we do our own interpretation. And that really brings the future tech to Future Soldier.
Now, since the Future Soldier is the theme here with the new Ghost Recon, how far in the future is our story set?
So that's a very interesting question. It's set a couple of years in the future, I would say 5 to 7 max. Anything longer than that, we kind of get into the sci-fi territory. And we've done experimentation with, going more science fiction with the brand, but it really didn't work for players. So we said, we need to keep it very short term, but it is in the future.
So it was really important for you guys at Red Storm to keep it within the last couple, the next couple years, rather than going into that sci-fi territory. Yeah. How come?
Sci-fi is done very well in video games by other companies, and we want to let those guys have that spot. We kind of like the spot that we're in as far as doing a really good job of predicting what's to come in the short term, not the long term.
We saw the drone in the presentation you gave. What other gadgets and toys will we get to play with?
Let's see, you've seen the drone. Drone is really cool. Optical camo is really cool too. So the military tech right now that exists is they're able to have these really big batteries that they use to power these systems on vehicles. Sort of like they have a video camera on the front side of the vehicle, on the back side of the vehicle, and a monitor on the front. And when you look at the monitor, you're seeing what the camera is recording on the back side, so it pretty much is showing you what is behind the vehicle. So the vehicle basically disappears. So we ask ourselves, what happens when that technology shrinks, when those batteries don't get to the size where you have to carry them in a vehicle, but you can carry them on a human being? That's going to allow for the optical camo that exists in reality today to show up on a human being, which is what we have in the game.
Cool. Now you mentioned that co-op and playing with your buddies in a squad was really important when you were designing this campaign, and you can play through the entire campaign with your friends. And you also mentioned that if you don't happen to have friends like me, I'm a pretty solitary guy. That's okay. I get on by myself quite. I grew up playing video games by myself. But if you're like me and you are playing with the AI counterparts, are they going to be deadlier?
They're definitely going to be better off than your friends at first until your friends figure out how you roll. Right, so this is a personal experience I'm talking about here. Playing co-op with your friends, if you work really well with those guys and you communicate well, you're probably going to get to the level of you playing by yourself with the AI, but you'll never get as good because we've kind of tuned the AI so they are real representation of ghosts. They're extremely lethal. They follow your moves. They kind of play off how you're playing. And the one thing that we've always had complaints about in the past in our games is that AI has gotten the player in trouble. And we've really put a lot of effort into making sure that we don't let the AI put the player in a situation where they have caused the player's death. So we want to make sure that it's not the AI's fault that the player dies, it's the player's fault.
That's good. Now, in the past, with the Ghost Recon series, we have seen vehicle segments where you are on a Vulcan cannon or a large machine gun. Will we see things like that in Future Soldier? Will you be manning the turrets of helicopters and things like that?
We do have some of those planned. It shows up in the campaign. Unfortunately, in multiplayer, we don't have that ability.
So there's no 1-800 dial a helicopter in this one?
No, not yet. Maybe next time.
As far as the multiplayer is concerned, what kind of character progression can gamers expect from this game? Will they have one soldier that they're leveling up constantly, or will all the customization be done in the gunsmith mode?
So the players in multiplayer have the option to progress through 50 levels. it's kind of the player's choice on how they want to do that. We give them the ability, if they want to try to roll 3 different classes all the way up to 50, they have that ability.
Can you tell me about some of the classes? You mentioned classes. Can you tell me about some of the classes that players will be able to play in multiplayer?
Yeah, multiplayer has 3 classes. We have the engineer class, which is your guy who throws up your drones. His important role is to gather that intel. We have the scout class, who's kind of stealthy. They can sneak around, they can snipe. And then we have the more robust class, the guy who kind of does everything, but not anything specifically better than the other classes, and that's the rifleman.
What's your favorite class to play as?
I like the engineer. As I've gotten older, my actual shooting skills have kind of degraded, so I find myself having the role of throwing that drone up and moving it around and gathering that intel kind of suits me well. Engineer.
That's really great to hear. Stuart, thank you so much for talking to us. Good luck with the launch of the game.
Thank you.
Ghost Recon Future Soldier, available now.